Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about a very important metabolic cycle taking place inside our body between our muscles and our liver. We all know that the energy requirement of all the living organisms is fulfilled by the process called respiration, and that glucose is the substrate which can enter the process of respiration. Respiration is of two types, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. During aerobic respiration, the glucose molecule C6H12O6, it breaks in the presence of oxygen and it produces carbon dioxide, water molecules, and 38 ATP molecules are generated. But whenever we are doing strenuous exercise or any other kind of strenuous physical activity, and our muscles are contracting and relaxing very fast and they require lot of energy to perform that activity, and there is no supply of oxygen, at that time the cells of the muscles, they have to undergo anaerobic respiration in the absence of oxygen to produce the required energy in the form of ATP molecules. So we will see that this glucose, it will break down in the absence of oxygen, and at that time it produces two molecules of an acid known as lactate or lactic acid, which we write as C3H6O3, two molecules plus two ATP molecules are generated. And children, all of us have experienced this accumulation of lactic acid in our muscle cells sometimes in our life, like whenever we have done lots of exercise, or we run very fast for a longer time, or after our sports day when we practice so much for drill, or we practice for march past, we participate in so many events. So we have felt that the pain or the fatigue in our muscles, and also sometimes the burning sensation can be felt due to the accumulation of lactic acid in our muscles because of the anaerobic respiration. Now, have we ever wondered what happens to the lactic acid or lactate which is produced in our muscle cells? What is their fate? How are they removed from the muscles? So, two scientists by the name of Carl Ferdinand Cori and his wife Gertie Theresa Cori, in the year 1929, they worked out on the metabolic cycle of this lactic acid. Now, in this Cori cycle, we are discussing only about the anaerobic respiration, the lactate produced, and how it is broken down. Now, if we look, for example, this is a muscle cell and this rectangle, it is representing the liver cell. Now, inside the muscle, the glucose, it is undergoing anaerobic respiration or anaerobic glycolysis, and it has produced the lactic acid. Now, this glucose, let us just name it as the muscle glucose for convenience sake, and let us name this as the muscle lactic acid for convenience sake. Now, this lactic acid moves into the bloodstream. So, let us write it as the blood lactic acid. This space over here, it is representing the blood. Blood carries it to the liver. This lactic acid enters the liver cells or the hepatocytes. And once this lactic acid enters the hepatocytes, now let's call it as the liver lactic acid. It is interesting to note that 20% or 1/5 of the lactic acid which has entered the liver, it becomes oxidized and becomes broken down into carbon dioxide, water, and ATP molecules. Now, see children, this lactic acid was produced here and it was not broken down in the muscle cells because of lack of oxygen. Now, here this extra oxygen is utilized here to break down this lactic acid. So, this is also known as the oxygen debt. Now, this 80% or 4/5 of the liver lactic acid, that is now converted to glycogen. We have the idea that glycogen is the storage carbohydrate for the animals, and a large amount of glucose is converted to glycogen and stored in the liver as well as the muscles. So, this 80% is converted to glycogen and stored over there, and let's write this as the liver glycogen. and time to time this glycogen is converted to glucose and it is released in the blood as per the requirements. So this becomes the blood glucose. Now, blood carries the glucose to the muscles. The glucose enters the muscles, reaches the muscle fibers, and once in the muscle fibers, we can call this as the muscle glucose. This glucose becomes converted to glycogen by the process called glycogenesis. This is for muscle storage. So we can write here as the muscle glycogen. Time to time, as per requirement, now this glycogen is again converted into glucose. That glucose again undergoes the process of anaerobic respiration, becomes converted to the muscle lactic acid. So we see, children, that this cycle, Cori cycle, it began from the muscle lactic acid. Now muscle lactic acid became converted to liver glycogen. Liver glycogen again became converted to muscle glycogen, again back to lactic acid. So this is the Cori cycle. The credit for finding out about this lactate metabolism in our body goes to the Cori couple, and I hope all of you have found it very interesting to know about the metabolism of lactic acid. Now children, if you wish me to explain any other topic over here, please let me know the topic in the comment box. And thank you all for watching. Till we meet next in the next class. So all of you eat healthy, play a lot, study well, and always be strong. Bye.